Alright, so today we have for you a Chevalier surface grinder. This is a 12 by 24 3-axis automatic. Currently wired for 230 volts 3-phase, have a coolant system, and I'm just going to go over a few things. The grinding wheel, this takes a 14-inch diameter grinding wheel with a 5-inch diameter bore. So you can work this whole machine with the hand wheels manually if you want. But it's hydraulic, so we get the table going here with this lever here. So with this you can control the speed of the table, slow it down, speed it up. You control over here, it's asking for certain information, how many, when this feeds, you get little pulses going to this hand wheel here, which is going to feed this hand wheel down to 0, and when it gets to 0 it's going to spark out. You have a fine feed dial on the top, and then your inner dial, you loosen this hand knob and you adjust this dial incrementally away from your 0. So if you were to grind down and touch your workpiece, measure it, and know you have another 5 thousandths to go, then you would set this 5 thousandths away from, first you'd set where you were at 0, and then you would measure, and then you would take it, move the dial back the stock removal amount that you need to remove. Tighten this knob down and then start your feed. So you've got some stuff going on here. In the manual mode, or the jog mode, which I'm in right now, you have your jog buttons to go bring your wheel down to your workpiece at a rapid rate. You have to press the 2 buttons in order to do that, or you have a slow down feed, and then you have your rapid up. And you also have this to get you close right down onto your workpiece. So once you touch the workpiece, like I said, you have now, you can also move in the manual mode your table or your saddle in and out. You can mount the dresser on there, on the magnet, and you could go, wrong button. You could go in and out with this. Got a bunch of lights up here. This simply tells you if your magnet is on, if your grinding wheel is on, or when you reach 0, and stuff like that. So in the automatic modes now, you can have your saddle moving in and out with the table automatically. But as soon as I went to that automatic setting, this light started to blink. So it wants me to push it. So now when I start my table, I should have the CROSSFEED also, or the saddle. And this is going to move until it touches a couple of switches mounted on this side of the machine. Reversal dogs. I don't know if anybody set them. There you go. So it's set to do the whole length of the magnet. The stroke that it's making right now, you can adjust that with this potentiometer. I can make this less. Just keep turning it down. It's just an endless revolution. Or you can spin it and bring it up so you get a much larger stroke. I think it's like a 10-turn pot. Okay, then it reverses again. So you also have a plunge grinding mode. So as soon as I went from surface to plunge, I got my light blinking again. It simply means it wants me to press it. Now in the plunge grinding mode, we're not going to move the saddle anymore. We're only going to move the table. So you notice that this hand wheel will feed here. Well, you might hear it. If you come over here closer, you'll be able to see it. And when we get to our 0 down there, we're going to stop our feed. And we're going to get one of these lights on up here that tells us that we reached 0. And then it kicks out after the certain amount of spark out passes, and the machine itself shuts off. Now the hydraulics have shut off, tables shut off. What you got to do is shut that valve off for safety and start everything up again. Okay. Start our feed again. Now, right now the table goes back and forth 3 times before it feeds. The number of pulses that I have in here, which is 4. I could change that to 3. I don't know, doesn't like that. Okay, it takes a second to set in. So, just to make you aware, it flashes. Also, the reason why it does 3 passes before it feeds is because I have a 3 here. I can lower this to 1. Now every time it goes back and forth, it'll feed down. Well, that's a lot of pressure on your workpiece or on your wheel, so that's why they give you the ability to change that value there. But if that's too heavy of a grind, you can raise that up. And now it's every 2 passes that it feeds. This over here is how many empty spark out passes it makes when it gets to 0. How many times the table goes back and forth in the slot grinding or plunge grinding, or how many times the saddle goes back and forth making empty spark out passes when the machine reaches 0. It also has the ability to grind more than the 100 thousandths that one revolution of this hand wheel has. So if this is on a 1 here, that means that it will go to 0 and kick out, no matter where you set it on the dial, up to 99.9 or up to 100 thousandths. If you have some kind of material that you're grinding that has more than 100 thousandths on it, you would switch this to 2. Then it will pass the 0 1 time, and on the next pass it'll stop. Well, that's what that is. When it gets to 0, you have a retraction. The wheel will go up. You can shut that off by turning this completely to 0, or you can increase it. It's a potentiometer. You don't really know where it's going to go. It doesn't memorize. It doesn't store it. Over here is your magnet. This controls your magnet, your power for your magnet, your demagnetizing, and this the final switch here is for parking, which way you want this to park when the cycle is over. So that's the Chevalier 12 by 24. Thank you very much.